Ladies and gentlemen, in today's video, as the title do suggests, we're going to be talking about how to qualify for Fortnite hosted tournaments. Let's get right on into it. In order to make this video as easy to understand as possible, I'm going to be going through my 10 solo FNCS games, telling you guys what I did good and what I did wrong in these 10 games. Then you guys can adapt these things that I did right and wrong into your own playstyle and play incredibly well. This is going to be a very educational video where a lot of people, including me, can learn a lot. So with that said, let's have a look at the first very fight that is right around the corner. Right here, I spot my opponent, and I'm like, alright, I gotta get a beam or at least a tag on this player. Getting that first tag in a fight is very beneficial and will help you in pretty much every scenario. Right here, I'm going for the roof because it looks like he's not planning to shoot me. I get the easy elimination and I move on with my game. In game number 1, I get a little bit too greedy and I go for center in zone number 3. This is the absolute best zone to get center in, as you 100% of the times you are center will get the 4th zone as well. Going for center here unfortunately cost me my life, and that was game number 1. Moving on to game number 2, I get 2 entry tags on this fight, and whenever I get entry tags on people, I try to push them for a minute to see how it goes, if I can hear them popping shields, etc. And I did not hear this guy pop a single mini or a big pot or anything, so I end up in his box and I get the elimination. Just a few seconds later, I get surprised by this guy, which luckily didn't get a single tag on me, and right here, I'm not really sure what to do, so what I do is I box up to think. Then this guy actually drops down on my wall, and I try to get as many pieces around him as possible, but I only get the cone, and then I get the elimination. This third guy was absolutely clueless, and because of my awareness, I knew he was in this corner, and I got a free elimination because I had a golden scar and good awareness. This fourth guy was super annoying. Fighting people in Slurpee takes a long time, because most people have 3 slurpfishes, 4 floppers, max shields, and everything they could have ever asked for. However, when you're going for fights like these, the mentality you want to have is, where is my opponent right now? You want to think that at all times. You don't want to start doing a flashy high ground retake without knowing exactly where your opponent is. That is why I'm not doing anything too mechanical, simply just shooting this kid down, getting him to waste mats and forcing the fight. In game number 2, I got blessed with the half and half zone. I'm going to be going through my half and half rotates throughout this tournament for you guys because it's so important to actually rotate correctly and good to the half and half zone if you want to do well in your games. The moving zone, however, was a little further away, so I thought, alright, let's just start moving straight away. I like doing this because staying ahead of the zone and looking back is a really good way to start getting eliminations. My plan for this moving zone was to get ahead, look back, start pressuring people, then a launch pad once the zone was in my ass. And that is what I wanted to do, but unfortunately, I was the one getting pressured. So right here, I was sitting, I was trying to pressure as many people as possible, but I didn't really get any tags. As I saw on the map, I saw that the zone was moving downwards, and I knew that going for a low pad was 100% the correct play. What I'm getting in right here, what I want to do is I want to stay ahead of the people I see and be on the most uncongested layer I can. Moving on later in this moving zone, I'm taking a quick little peek up on high ground because I'm thinking, maybe I can get it, but then I see that I probably have to fight for it, and I think, yo, you know what, it is not necessary to take high ground for me right now, as I have 2 launch pads and quite a bit of mats. The next zone pulls back, and this is really good for 2 reasons. Number 1, I do not have to use a launch pad and get beamed by the entirety of the lobby, and number 2, I have the opportunity to go back into my old builds. However, I do not find my old builds, and I end up just going for a lot of eliminations. Right now, I'm just sitting still and I'm trying to see if I can market the zone. You always want to do this if you have the opportunity to do so, as it is really easy to see where the edge is. This guy was pretty much on my wall, and I thought, hey, let's edit on him and one-tap him. This was really good, and I opted to launch pad and go in front of the zone once again. Then I start bloom battling this kid, a really questionable and pretty dumb decision. You don't want to do this when you're on mouse and keyboard. If you're on controller, go ahead, do it all you want. You're gonna win pretty much every single time anyways. Launch padding here is really dumb to do, especially since I knew there was a guy on high ground and it was really open and I could have been beamed so hard. Luckily for me, it was a really low point lobby and the players weren't too good. Right here I have a lot of mats and I'm really confident in my own ability to win the game. Once again, I'm in front of the zone. I'm really good at holding in front edge here and I opt to go up for high ground and I win the game because of it. What I want to emphasize in this video is that you should always take your time when you're in a one-on-one. You have pretty much all the time in the world. Don't go for anything risky unless you absolutely have to. Right here, I played my heart out. I just simply did not want to take any risks. I wanted to get the win, and so I did. In game number 3, I get into a super long box fight that I ultimately win simply because I have better aim than my opponent. In game number 3, I got really lucky and I got a half and half circle. The circle was really close, but I had to rotate just a little bit. And I decided I wanted to build my way in. There are 2 reasons for this. Number 1, it is 0% chance that I'm dying when building in like this. And also, I only spent 100 mats on it. And if I just walked in and risked my life walk-in, I had to build a 2x1, which is around 100 mats anyways, so it was definitely a good decision to just simply build 2 small 1x1s to get right into the 5th circle. On the moving zone, however, I did not get as lucky. I got a max distance moving zone and I knew I had to use my launch pad. There are multiple reasons I needed to use my launch pad. Number 1, because it's one of the hardest zones to rotate without a launch pad. And number 2, I was on the congested side, meaning there were a lot of other players surrounding me. As you guys can probably tell, I have marked the left side of the zone, and the reason I wanted to do this was because this was the side where fewest people were going to be at when this zone closed. I want to be on this side because I don't really want to fight as many people, because I have a lot of mats, I don't need a refresh. However, I decided I wanted to go really cocky, really confident in, because I had a golden tack and I can do wonders with a golden tack. So that is what I decided to do, and it kind of paid off. I got a few eliminations because of it, and I also had a lot of mats. You will see how this endgame plays out. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below, by the way, on the video so far. It's a little bit of a different one. It's also a longer one. Let me know if you like longer videos. I just simply want to ask you guys because I really want to know, and I want to make the best content available. Right here, by the way, I stopped to heal, but I see this player, or 50 pot, behind me, and then I see this player, and right here, I should have probably just focused 100% on rotations. I had a ton of materials, and I should have just straight up fully tarped instead of dropping down. Being on this layer was really bad, and I also had 4 floppers. I could have sat in zone for a long time. Once I started getting shot at, I should have just simply knew, hey, this is the time for me to use my floppers. And with the mats I had, I could have probably gone for high ground with my 4 floppers as well. And that is definitely what I should have done. There is no reason for me to play low ground right here. Unfortunately, I just enjoy playing low ground a little bit too much, and unfortunately, it costed me the game. I was really happy with it, however. I got a lot of eliminations as well as 6th place. I was playing pretty consistently, and I was overall really happy. In game number 4, I got pushed by this guy for some reason. In circle number 2, it was 21 players remaining, so it wasn't directly stacked. Right here, I looked down on my heals and I saw that I had all the heals in the entirety of the world. I knew that as long as I played patiently and I played smart, I would kill this guy. So that is exactly what I did. Later that game, I didn't actually get half and half zone, but I saw that the rotate was relatively free. It was only 12 players in the lobby, so I was like, alrighty, let's mark zone and see where I actually have to go. I noticed that I had to go up on the mountain, and I was like, you know what, this is pretty free, no one's looking at me, there's water right next to me, I can rotate super fast as well as free. I decided to use quite a bit of mats because I saw Brutus' minigun down on the floor, and I thought, yo, if I get this minigun as well as the ammunition for it, I'm probably gonna win the game. It was a lot of good loot, and I managed to grab it as well as get a pretty flawless rotate to the 5th circle. On moving zone, as you guys all know, I like to get ahead of zone, look back, and try to get as many eliminations as possible. Right here I have 440 mats, and I know I have to go for a refill. A little bad awareness by me, because I have 6 bullets in my shotgun and not 8. I should have realized that and reloaded my shotgun. It didn't really matter too much though, but have a look at this endgame and how it plays out, and I'll come back to you when I have something interesting to say. Right here, I looked down on my mats and I decided, hey, let's crank up for height. It's probably pretty free, but at the same time, I'm contested by this guy with an RPG that really wanted height. I knew I had pretty much all the mats I needed, and I was pretty confident that I had more material than this guy. However, he also had quite a bit. He ended up launching away, and right here I was really high up, so I was really scared to get shot down, and I ended up dropping down, taking a lot of unnecessary fall damage. This is something I could have prevented easily by simply just using mats because I wasn't even being shot at. Right here, I have high ground, 5 players remaining. Everything was pretty much looking like a win for me in this endgame. However, I didn't use my auditory awareness to localize my opponents. Another major mistake I did in this endgame was I didn't get ahead of the zone. You know that I really enjoy getting ahead of the zone, and that is when I play my best. Right here, a guy actually challenges me for high ground, gets a super hard tack or pump, I don't really know what it was, on me, and I'm thinking, you know what? Let me drop down and go for these eliminations. This was a really dumb play considering I actually had quite a bit of materials, and I could have done so much more in this very endgame. This bad decision ultimately ended in me getting eliminated in one of the worst ways possible. I could have stayed up higher, I had the materials for it, and I placed 4th when I could have placed probably 2nd or 3rd, which would have been much better, and to be honest, I should have probably won this game. Game 5 pretty much ended as soon as it started. I saw this guy and I got pressured by him, and I was like, you know what, let's build a 2x1, heal up, and try to just outsmart him. However, this guy was actually insanely good, and I simply just got outplayed, and I'm not even capping when I'm saying it. This guy literally just, yeah, he outplayed me so hard, he literally destroyed me. Well played to No Look Blade if you're watching this video, like, wow, that was a good play. In game number 6, I met some sort of creative warrior with double edit binds and the most optimized build keybinds for Chapter 2 Season 2. And what I ultimately ended up doing was I sat back in my chair and I was thinking, you know what, let me just watch this guy and let him make the mistake. Because I saw that this guy was super aggressive, super good mechanically, but I was just like, you know what, I probably have better aim and I'm probably smarter than this kid, so let me just sit back and watch him make a mistake. And that is exactly what I did to eliminate this guy. Later that game, I got into a box fight and I actually got a wall. My opponent wasn't really holding the wall, but when I get walls, I'm 100% sure I'm gonna get the elimination. I'm just so confident because when you get walls, playing Fortnite is a completely different game. So if you have good ping, take advantage of your ping, get those walls, and fight players based around that. This endgame was just a little bit more stacked than the other games, and I personally enjoy more stacked endgames rather than super non-stacked endgames because I know how to play them better. And right here, what I want to say to everyone watching this video is to always remember to mark the zone, because then you will know exactly where you have to go, where the threshold is to get into the zone, etc, etc. And I did so by rotating on the uncongested side. This was really free, and I also want to say that don't be scared to use your builds. Right here, I'm maybe using a little bit too much builds, but I was just super confident that I would get a refill because I had 4 floppers, all the shield in the world, as well as a golden pump. On the moving zone, I was pretty much just sitting still, waiting and looking at where people were rotating, then finding a free path. However, I started rotating over other players. I didn't really need to do this as I could have went on the left side, which was pretty much uncontested. However, I got on a pretty good layer. I had 4 floppers and absolutely everything I could have ever asked for. I go for this guy's roof and cone, and I see if I can get an elimination because I need an elimination. I have 90 materials, and this is the perfect time to do it. You don't want to go for eliminations when you have 0 mats. You want to rather do it a little bit earlier when I have a few materials. Then I start seeing this guy rotating, and I'm like, you know what, I can probably follow this guy's tarp and get into the zone. And this guy really wanted to just fight me, but he didn't want to fight me anymore when I actually pumped him. I was trying to go for this elimination, but it just didn't work out. Right now I had 4 floppers, and as said earlier, I do not die with 4 floppers. Like, that is something I do not do. So I'm just sitting in here, talking to my mates, literally focusing up on the game, and I have 0 mats, right? 3 floppers. I'm trying to get in. I see this kill. Get it? That was really good. It was low. Luckily, I get quite a bit of mats, and I'm like, you know what? Let me get in. Let me use these mats. Let me get in. But I got a little bit too greedy not to use mats, and I choked quite a bit of edits. I saw this player behind me, and I was like, you know what? I gotta go for this elimination. I should have had better mechanics to get into the circle right there, and I did have a flopper, but due to me being greedy and not using more materials here, I ultimately ended up getting eliminated. In game number 7, I did one major mistake, and that was not bringing out my controller. I have 2 SMGs, and I need to use it because this guy's psychoing me, and I ultimately end up going down because of my misplay. Game numero 8, I get in a fight against this player, and I'm like, you know what? I actually gotta hit my shots right now. I gotta hit my shots. This guy's in my box. Let me hit my shots. And I did. The only reason I die in this game is because I choke and edit. Game number 9 starts up with what I thought would have been a free elimination, but it wasn't because I choked. My focus span is really bad, and right here, my mentality and my focus was so bad. Later that game, I get into a fight against this player, and I want you guys to analyze this for yourself, activize your brain just a little bit, and let me hear your thoughts on what I could have done differently in the comment section below. Guys, I was so stoked because I was watching the Fortnite live stream and I was like, yes, I got into a game, you know? Those last few minutes when you're queuing up, you don't really know whether you're gonna get in a game or not. And it says session expired. Well, all I have to say is GG.